911, what's your emergency?
The City of Fort Bragg recently hired its new Chief of Police, Eric Swift. Swift brings more than 20 years of law enforcement leadership to the department, including service in Clark County, Georgia, and the Napa County Sheriff's Offices, as well as over a decade with the City of Santa Rosa's Police Department. Under his brief interim leadership in Fort Bragg before being assigned the role permanently, Chief Swift has begun strengthening internal policies, utilizing independent investigations when appropriate, and expanding communication and transparency with the public. We had the opportunity to sit down with the chief to learn more about his background and plans for his department. So just a little background information. Did you grow up in California?
I did. Grew up in West LA until I would say 10th grade. Then we moved out to San Bernardino County. Finished high school there. Then I did college in Northern California. And then I moved out of state for the military, went off into the military.
Okay. What branch?
The Marine Corps.
Did you do your training in California? Or?
No, it was actually in Quantico, Virginia.
Okay.
Then I was stationed on the East Coast, North Carolina.
And did you have a specialty in the military?
I was an infantry officer.
When did you decide that you wanted to go into law enforcement?
I think finally it was probably when I decided to get out of the military, but it was something that I had context for because my sister was in law enforcement, so I saw her when I grew up. And then when I was in college, I did an internship in adult probation, so I was introduced to another facet of law enforcement. But when I decided to get out the military, thinking about what careers were next, I still wanted to serve, and my past love and interest from seeing my sister and then adult probation, it was one of those things that just clicked, like, this would be something that would definitely be right up my alley. So.
And where was your sister in law enforcement?
So she was in Belize, that's where I was born, and then she was in Foster City.
Who would you consider mentors in your life?
I would have to say my mom, and that's because throughout my life, I can always look back and I can always connect. The discipline, the drive came from her, and just trying to always be a better version. It says always from my mom, so I can always connect it back to her. And then I would say for the military, my first commanding officer, who was Captain Brown at the time, he eventually got out or retired from the Marine Corps as a colonel, but he was one of those that also I can look back and see the professionalism when it comes to military, but also it carried over to law enforcement. But just as far as understanding what it means to be a leader, and then also trying to always train up and make others better, and ensuring that there's a standard that's enforced. So I would say I can also look back and see, he was one of those driving forces in my life.
You've been working as the chief now for several months. What do you see as some of the department's strengths?
I would definitely say for us as a small agency, I don't want to say specialty, but we do everything. Our officers do everything. So as opposed to the other agencies I've worked in, we've always had an investigative bureau or a special unit bureau or something. Here, it's our officers, so they will take any incident they start with, and it could be a simple vandalism to a complex domestic violence to a rape or something, and they will actually continue with that investigation throughout until it's completed and sent to the DA's office.
So you've talked about the strengths of the department. Where do you think the department needs to grow or to improve?
Staffing, we need to grow. But other than that, I think one of the things, along with the strength, that's also something that could be our weakness. Is one of them is exactly that, is because we have to do the complete investigation in cases. Sometimes, we don't see those cases very often. So, you might have gotten some training on that in the academy, and now you're dealing with it. So, and then to get every one of our officers to all those specialty training or schools is hard. So I would say that's one of them, is just ensuring that we have the proficiency and expertise in everything across the board. And then the other one is one of our weakness right now is on the leadership side. And what I mean by that is we're short leaders. So currently we are at 2 sergeants, and we're testing for a 3rd. So, having that mid-level leadership is very important, that frontline leadership for us. So that's a weakness for us, because that supervision is key, especially in a small agency.
Do you rely then on, like the sheriff's department, for those some of those specialty services?
So depending on, one of the things that has been a good thing for us is the Mendocino Major Crimes Task Force. So we have an officer on that now. So that's been an asset for us, because now we can reach out, especially when it's drug related. They can help us. But with the other cases too, if they're available, we can reach out for complex investigations. And that's what the goal has been for that task force, is to train up the task force to be able to help agencies that are smaller or not as proficient in some of those investigations. So yes, so we try to build that partnership with the sheriff's office locally, the task force, Fish and Wildlife, parks, because we understand that we're going to need them. Just like you said, there are times for specific things we're going to have to reach out.
So what do you find are the biggest challenges in retaining police officers here, since we are such isolated in a small force?
I think it's a combination of things, and what I mean by that is at times, number one, our pay is not, when you talk about comparison, we're at the lower end of the pay scale. And then when you talk about accessibility, we're on the coast, so it's a little isolated. And so there's some limitations there with people, depending on who they are. And then housing is another one that we see too, is depending if you have a family and stuff, and either looking for better opportunities to take care of your family and give them better housing or something like that. Because the reality is this is a great place, but it's expensive and limited in some of the housing. So I think it's a combination of all those things and then the opportunities. So because we're so small, we don't have a lot of, you mentioned specialties, bomb units, different things that other agencies do. So, you can understand at times there are people that want more challenges and want those opportunities. So I think adding in all those things is a combination for people. And our officers are, they're looked at as a great asset, because other agencies, because we're small, and like I said, we train them and try to give them that training across the board. Other agencies, if you were in a bigger agency, it would take you years to get some of that training because you didn't need it. Investigations can take care of that stuff. So for other agencies, when they look across, I'm like, you can recruit an officer who has so much training, even though they might not have a lot of time, they still have a lot of training, and so that ability and looks good for another agency. So I think all those things, that combination, it's challenging for retention piece for us.
Regarding the recent town hall, that there was it was the meeting that you had with the city manager, Isaac Whippy, and questions came up concerning the immigration population and how the police department would respond if ICE agents showed up. Can you clarify what the laws in California are regarding police assistance with ICE?
Yes, so California, Do recognize and want to respect the rights of everyone. Having said that, California does have the Values Act and Trust Act, and in there there's some as far as limitations that we as law enforcement should abide by. So for us in our police agencies, some of the things that we do abide by and cannot is we specifically don't just go out and enforce, interrogate, stop people just to ensure for the immigration piece of it. So that's not our mission. We do assist. We don't just go and arrest someone for the civil side of immigration violation. Now we do. We will arrest someone if there is a criminal warrant signed by a federal judge or magistrate. Then we will abide by that. And then some of the other stuff is we do. There are specific information we can share, personal information if it's available to the public, or the status of someone. Yes, we can, but we don't share addresses and other stuff for someone just for immigration purposes. In essence, that's it comes down to there are certain things from the Values and Trust Act that mandates us to do certain things or not do certain things, and that's what we abide by. And that's the city council did. That's what was referenced to by our city manager. That the city council did look at that and made a declaration that yes, for Fort Bragg, they would treat everyone and respect people's right, to live and be in our community without worrying about some of those issues.
Another question from the meeting was regarding the issue of gangs in the community. How's the department working to address graffiti and gang recruitment along the coast, and what other agency are you working with?
So for us, we recognize that that's not only a quality of life issue, but it's a safety issue in our community. So for us, we've looked comprehensively. So number one, the training with our officers. So we actually, a couple weeks back, brought in Santa Rosa Police Department, their investigators, to do some gang training for us to ensure that we had those skills, and then ensuring we're updated on laws related to gang investigations. And then we're also doing the education piece. We are doing gang training within the schools, looking at our youth, and then working with community members and groups to ensure that they know, and the school administrators, so that everyone understands, what it means, because we want the criminal element to be focused on. So we've done that, and then specifically then the enforcement pieces, we actually investigate and we try to prevent some of those issues all the way from putting up cameras at certain locations for the tagging and the graffiti. And then when there is crimes like we've had in our community the last few weeks, few months, we investigate it thoroughly, and we've been lucky. I don't want to say lucky. We've been, maybe we've been lucky, but we've been happy with the results where we've make arrests from some of those crimes. We're trying to just ensure that, number one, our community is educated. The other piece of it, like you said, so we work with outside agencies, but also we work with our partner agencies. We work with the task force to not only help get their assistance, but also some of the training and equipment, technology-wise, and different things to help us with those investigations. As part of that is investigation is a documentation piece. So we try not try, but we do get out and document not only with pictures, but the incident itself, and we look for whatever witnesses or anything that evidence we can find, and then we also ensure that those graffitis cleaned off, because we don't want it to be one of those lingering things where either it's there for the other gang members to see it, and we don't want also the community to continue to see something like that. So we want it cleaned as soon as possible, and the city does assist property owners with helping them with refunding them for cost to a certain limit to clean off that graffiti.
So if somebody sees graffiti, should they call what number should they call?
They should call dispatch. So non-emergency number is fine. Either one, if they still call emergency, it'll be vetted and then passed off to us. So yes, we do advise because we want that documentation.
So how might individuals and community groups engage with the department to help address some of these issues that we've been talking about?
On many levels. So I think the key word you said is engage. We try to be transparent with ensuring the public is given information what's occurring in the community, and we want the feedback. We need their assistance, number one, to help us solve crimes, and then we want people. We need the help. We are a small agency, but we would love for people to partner with us. So we have the VIPS program, which is a volunteer program for people to help us get to know us, learn about our agency, and then to actually participate. We are going to start our say police academy, but citizens academy. It's where we have the academy for our community members who can come in, and we'll give them an introduction to what we do, law enforcement, not only police, but with the district attorney's office, and just some of those behind the scenes thing. And that allows them more as far as understanding of us and what they can do to help us down the road. We also internship. We're looking at our internship program, and then we have our Explorers program too. So those are youth programs that we want people to help with. One of the things that we are looking at is actually doing specifically getting community members together, and we're looking at that in the next few weeks. But what it is an invitation for engagement, where we're going to bring community members, school administrators, and business owners, and we just want to talk about who's doing what in the community to help our youth or other community members, and then where's the blind spots, how else can we help. But the goal is to help our community be safer and stronger. So we're looking at that down the road.
So the intern program, is that age limited? Or is that?
So far we've been only looking at it for our youth. So because we've recognized that in our community, our youth there's not as many activities for them. We're not averse to adults doing the internship, but so far we've been focused on the youth. What can we do to help them? Right now we're currently looking at the youth for that.
Okay. Explorers program, will that be open to all different kind of projects, or just police services? Or I know Explorers is wider than most people think. They think of police department, but
right. Yes, for us, our piece is the law enforcement piece. Now we've been, I don't want to say revamped, but we've been looking at how can we, and it's been I'll be honest, it's the last year we haven't had the ability to actually implement it fully because we're understaffed, so it's hard. But the goal of it is, just like you said, is to put a program together for the youth to introduce them to not only law enforcement but public safety. So our goal is to include other agencies in our program. So, but yes, it's focused on law enforcement, but other public safety, fire, DA's office, and other agencies. Yes, we want to incorporate them also.
Chief Swift, I want to thank you for your time today.
Thank you. I really appreciate sitting down with you.